Chapter 1. The Perfect Life. That wasn't. The rain drummed against the windows of our Westchester County home as I sat in my office reviewing client portfolios. As a financial advisor with 15 years of experience, I'd built a reputation for helping wealthy families protect their assets. Ironic, considering I was about to discover how poorly I'd protected my own. My name is Sarah Chen, and at 38, I thought I had it all. A successful practice, a beautiful colonial house, and a marriage to Marcus Williams that everyone envied. Marcus was a real estate developer specializing in luxury commercial properties across New York. We'd been married for 12 years, and from the outside, we looked like the American dream personified. That Tuesday evening in October, Marcus was supposed to be in Boston closing a deal. He'd left with his usual kiss, and "I'll call you tonight, babe." But something nagged at me. Maybe it was his recent distance, or how his phone was always face down when we were together. I tried calling him around 9 p.m., straight to voicemail. That was odd. Marcus always kept his phone on during business trips. Unable to concentrate, I decided to check our joint credit card statements online. What I found made my hands shake. Restaurant charges at expensive Manhattan spots on nights when Marcus claimed to be working late. Hotel charges at the Ritz-Carlton, not in Boston, but in New York. Jewelry purchases from Tiffany that I'd never received. The most recent charge was from 3 hours ago. Dinner for two at Le Bernardin. My heart pounded as I scrolled through months of evidence. The pattern was clear and devastating. I grabbed my keys and drove through the storm to Manhattan, my mind racing as I navigated the rain-soaked streets. Le Bernardin was a 40-minute drive, but it felt like hours. I parked across the street and waited, my breath fogging the windows. At 10:30 p.m. I saw him. Marcus emerged with a stunning blonde woman in her late 20s, his arm around her waist. He opened his BMW door for her, and they drove away together. I followed them to a luxury apartment building on the Upper East Side. I watched from my car as they entered together, Marcus's hand on her back in a gesture that was intimately familiar. I sat there for 2 hours, watching the light in what I assumed was her apartment window. When Marcus finally emerged alone at 12:45 a.m., I followed him home, my mind shifting from heartbreak to cold calculation. I was a financial advisor. I knew how to investigate irregularities, how to protect assets, how to build cases. Marcus had made a fatal error. He'd betrayed someone who knew exactly how to destroy him financially. Chapter 2. The Investigation. I woke before dawn, my mind sharp despite barely sleeping. Marcus was unconscious beside me, oblivious to the storm coming his way. I slipped out of bed and went to my office. If I was going to do this, I needed to be methodical and thorough. First, documentation. I printed 6 months of credit card statements and bank records. The paper trail of Marcus's affair was extensive. He'd been remarkably careless. Restaurant charges, hotel bills, jewelry purchases, weekend trips to the Hamptons that I'd believed were business retreats. But the real treasure was his laptop. Marcus used the same password for everything. Success 2011, the year he'd started. His company. I'd watched him type it countless times, never imagining I'd use it against him. His email revealed the full scope of his deception. Messages to and from Jessica Romano, filled with intimate details and casual cruelty toward me. In one exchange from 2 weeks earlier, Jessica had written, "When are you going to tell her? I'm tired of being your secret." Marcus's response was chilling. "Soon, baby. I just need to secure a few more assets first. Sarah handles our finances, so I need to be strategic. Once I've moved some things around, we can be together properly." As I dug deeper, I discovered something that shifted my anger into pure fury. Marcus wasn't just planning to leave me, he was planning to leave me with nothing. Email threads with lawyers and accountants revealed a systematic plan to hide assets and restructure his holdings to minimize what I could claim in a divorce. One email to his attorney from 3 months ago made my blood boil. I need to protect myself from Sarah's potential claims. She's a financial advisor, so she's not stupid. We need to make sure she can't touch the development projects or overseas accounts. The lawyer's response was equally chilling. We can restructure everything through shell companies. If done correctly, she'll be lucky to get the house. The key is moving everything before filing. Over the next 3 hours, I documented everything: screenshots, printed emails, financial records, timeline construction. I created a digital fortress of proof that would be impossible to dispute. By 8 a.m., when Marcus stumbled downstairs, I had enough evidence to destroy him in court. But I wasn't ready to strike yet. I needed to understand the full scope of his hidden assets. Using my professional network and private investigator resources, I began mapping Marcus's shadow empire. The $4.2 million I'd accidentally discovered months ago was just the beginning. Through shell companies and offshore accounts, Marcus had built a hidden portfolio worth over $8 million. What made it worse was that much of this wealth had been built during our marriage using connections I'd helped him establish. My reputation had opened doors for him. My client referrals had led to his biggest deals. I'd helped him build the fortune he was now trying to steal. But Marcus had made crucial errors. In his eagerness to hide assets, he'd failed to properly structure some holdings. Several shell companies could be traced back to him. The cryptocurrency accounts used traceable email addresses. Most importantly, the timing of transfers coincided with his affair, creating a clear pattern of fraudulent conveyance. I called Patricia Reeves, a divorce attorney known for destroying cheating spouses who tried to hide money. I need to discuss a hypothetical situation, I said carefully. If someone discovered their spouse was having an affair and hiding assets, what would be the best strategy? That's very specific, Patricia replied, and I could hear her predatory smile. Would this someone have documentation? Hypothetically, yes, extensive documentation. Then they'd be in an excellent position to claim punitive damages for fraudulent conveyance. Depending on circumstances, they might be looking at a very favorable settlement indeed. After our call, I sat staring at our backyard. The October. Sun filtered through changing leaves, casting everything in golden light. It was beautiful, peaceful, the picture of suburban tranquility, but I was planning a financial war that would leave Marcus devastated. Chapter 3. The Perfect Strike. 3 weeks of preparation had transformed me from betrayed wife to strategic weapon. Every morning, I kissed Marcus goodbye while secretly building the case that would destroy him. By early November, I had documented evidence of the affair, $8.3 million in hidden assets, and a systematic plan to defraud me. More importantly, I'd identified the perfect moment to strike. Marcus was scheduled to fly to the Cayman Islands on November 15th for what he claimed was a real estate meeting. In reality, he was planning to transfer millions to untraceable offshore accounts. He also planned to file for divorce immediately, upon return, believing I'd be too shocked to mount an effective defense. On November 14th, I struck with surgical precision. At 9 a.m., while Marcus prepared for his trip, Patricia and I walked into New York Supreme Court with a filing box full of evidence. We filed for divorce with comprehensive asset disclosure, requested emergency injunctions, freezing all marital assets, and demanded punitive damages for fraudulent conveyance. Most importantly, we got a restraining order preventing Marcus from leaving the country. By 2 p.m., we had every injunction we'd requested. I made calls to banks and investment firms, providing court orders and demanding compliance. Then I called Marcus. "Hi, honey," I said cheerfully. "How's your day?" "Busy as hell. I'm finalizing everything for tomorrow's trip. Is everything okay?" "Everything's wonderful." I wanted to let you know I've taken care of that financial planning project we discussed. What project? The one where we protect our assets and ensure everything is legally compliant. You know, the kind that makes sure no one can accuse us of hiding anything from each other. Sarah, what are you talking about? I'm talking about Jessica Romano. The 8.3 million you've been hiding. Your plan to leave me with nothing, and your trip tomorrow to move money offshore. The silence was deafening. I'm also calling to let you know that every asset you thought you'd hidden has been frozen by court. Order. Your flight is cancelled because you're subject to a restraining order. And Jessica might want a new boyfriend because yours is about to lose everything. Sarah, I can explain. No, Marcus. You're coming home right now. You're sitting down with my attorney, and you're signing every document we put in front of you. By 6 p.m., Marcus sat in our living room, ashen-faced and shaking as he reviewed the documents. The confident man who'd kissed me goodbye was gone, replaced by someone who'd aged 10 years. In a day. This is everything, he whispered. If I sign this, I'll have nothing. You'll have exactly what you planned to leave me with. The difference is, I'm not hiding behind shell companies. Patricia leaned forward. Mr. Williams, refusing to sign won't improve your position. We have enough evidence for criminal charges. Cooperation is your best option. Marcus looked at me with something like respect, mixed with fear. You planned this perfectly, I learned. From the best. You taught me never to trust completely. You just didn't expect me to apply that lesson to you. He signed the documents. By 8 p.m., I had legal control of $12.7 million in assets, everything Marcus had tried to hide, plus punitive damages. He would keep personal belongings, one vehicle, and enough money to start over. More generous than what he'd planned for me. What happens now, he asked. Now you call Jessica and explain that her wealthy boyfriend is broke. Now you learn what it feels like to lose everything because someone you trusted betrayed you. After he left, I sat with a glass of wine, feeling something I hadn't experienced in months. Peace. Not happiness, that would take time, but peace and satisfaction that I'd fought back and won. Chapter 4. New Beginnings. 6 months later, I stood in my new Manhattan office, watching spring rain streak the windows. The divorce was finalized, and I was now worth over $15 million. More importantly, I was free. Sarah Chen Financial Advisory had grown exponentially. My story of discovering and dismantling financial fraud had impressed wealthy circles, and I now specialized in protecting high-net-worth individuals from betrayal. My client list had tripled. Marcus's attempt to destroy me had actually made me more successful than ever. Rebecca Martinez, a surgeon, sat across from my desk. Her husband was showing signs of financial infidelity, and she wanted protection. I feel like I'm going crazy, she said. Part of me hopes I'm wrong, but I know something's happening. Trust that instinct, I told her. When something feels wrong, it usually is. The question is whether you want to hope for the best or prepare for the worst. After Rebecca left, I looked out at the bustling street. Spring in New York was beautiful, full of possibility. I'd bought a penthouse on the Upper West Side, traded my Mercedes for a Tesla, and was planning a trip to Italy. My phone rang. Patricia had news about Marcus. His construction company filed for bankruptcy. Without his hidden reserves, he couldn't finance projects. He's also facing criminal charges for tax evasion. What about Jessica? Gone. Left him when she realized he wasn't wealthy anymore. She's engaged to a hedge fund manager in Connecticut. The poetic justice was perfect. Marcus had lost everything: wife, mistress, business, freedom, pursuing a fantasy that evaporated when I fought back. Around 5 p.m. my assistant buzzed me. There's a Marcus Williams here. He doesn't have an appointment. Curiosity won out. Send him in. Marcus walked in looking like a shadow of his former self. Expensive suits replaced by off-the-rack clothing. Confident bearing gone, replaced by defeat. He'd lost weight, and his hair showed grey. "I wanted to apologize," he said quietly, "for everything. The affair, trying to steal from you 12 years of lies. Apology noted. Is that all? I also wanted to tell you that you were right. Jessica left the moment the money was gone. My partners abandoned me. I've lost everything and I deserved it. What do you want from me?" "Nothing. I just needed you to know that what you did was exactly what I deserved. You protected yourself better than I protected you. It wasn't about revenge. It was about survival. You were going to leave me with nothing. I made sure that didn't happen." Marcus stood slowly. "I won't bother you again. I just needed you to know that you won because you were smarter and stronger than I was. I hope you find real happiness, Sarah." After he left, I felt something I hadn't experienced since his betrayal. Closure. The man who'd betrayed me was gone, replaced by someone who'd learned the cost of his choices. My phone buzzed with a text from David, the architect I'd been dating. "Dinner tomorrow? New Italian place in Soho?" I smiled and typed back, "I'd love to, but I'm buying. I just closed a big case." As I gathered my things, I caught my reflection in the window. The woman looking back was stronger and wiser than the one who'd sat in a rain-soaked car 6 months earlier. I'd lost a marriage, but gained something more valuable. Knowledge that I could survive anything and emerge stronger. Marcus had tried to destroy me, but instead taught me exactly how powerful I could be. The affair had ended my marriage, but it had begun my real life. Some stories end with forgiveness. Mine ended with justice, independence, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that the best revenge is refusing to let betrayal define your future. I'd discovered the affair, filed for divorce, and taken the hidden $4 million plus interest and punitive damages. But more than that, I'd discovered something priceless, unshakable knowledge that I was strong enough to survive anything. The woman who'd sat in that car, shaking with heartbreak, was gone. In her place was someone who understood that true security comes from trusting yourself to handle whatever comes next, and I was very much looking forward to whatever came next.